Hello, thank you for joining me for another Dear Sam Help Horsemanship Series. This week I just briefly wanted to talk about the starting point. So I find with a lot of folks as they ask for help with different situations, even when nothing dramatic or serious or a fearful experience has occurred, that the place in which they are mentally assuming there is value in the interaction with the horse is in their mind much later into the interaction. Now, I know that sounds funny, but for a lot of people, things like the mundane catching of the horse, leading the horse, going out the gate, having him tied, grooming him, tacking him, many times those situations become so familiar that there is a lack of clarity or intention or thoughtfulness or specific communication offered by the human towards the horse. And so after enough times, it can often feel like the horse is going along and complying and it's no big deal. But the day that something unexpected happens or there has to be a change in how things are normally done, often people are quite surprised at the degree of resistance the horse has, or maybe the mental stuckness he has on offering behavior the way it is normally done, versus being able to adapt to whatever the unexpected moment is or the change in the routine. And this is one of those things where the ride does not begin when you are sitting in the saddle. The ride begins when you think about going for a ride. That means before you've even arrived at the barn or heading out to the pasture at your house to catch your horse. Because I find most of the time people are pretty mentally distracted. They tend to bring their emotions from other things in their life and dump them on the horse. They tend to have a certain anticipation or expectation of what the horse will do or what the horse should do, which draws them away from being present. And all of these factors contribute to the human not being present in the moment in order to communicate specific, intentional, clear communication, and then to be present enough to acknowledge what the horse's feedback was, address it, and help him work through any potentially troubling, fearful, defensive, concerning, avoidant behaviors that he might have. And the whole point of putting in the effort to learn to become aware of oneself and one's thoughts and one's emotions is because it completely influences the quality of the communication that you offer the horse. So you can mechanically go through the motions of how you communicate something, doing it in an XYZ manner. But if you are carrying any degree of expectation, anticipation, or critique in your emotions behind how you're communicating, your horse will feel that and give you a totally different response than if you have a calm mental presence where you're staying in this emotionally neutral place so that you can better hear and address whatever the horse's feedback is. And this is where often people kind of struggle because they're thinking the horse experience is about what the human gets out of it. And honestly, in order to have fulfilling, rewarding, emotionally satisfying moments with the horse, we first have to prioritize how us humans can be there for the horse, to support them, to help them work through scenarios, especially all of these unnatural things that we put them into and expect of them. And that way we are building the horse's trust and confidence and willingness to try and search for what we're asking, because we are addressing what he is experiencing with an empathetic approach rather than with a dictatorial approach, which is what most people do when they try to have a trained response from their horse, where they repeatedly offer or ask or demand the same behaviors over and over, which eventually the horse may learn to comply with. But the day that they change what it is that they're asking or how they're asking, all of that contained obedience comes exploding out with the horse melting down because he is not able to mentally think through a new or different scenario, and therefore physically he offers unwanted behaviors. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.